Hey, Cat Matlock here at FreeBody, and I'm going to give you some real specific ways to hold yourself in good posture coming up next. One of the things I counsel my clients and my students on all the time is posture, how to hold yourself well so that you're not straining your muscles, causing weakness in your muscles, or creating really dysfunctional thick patterns in your fascia, in your connective tissue. So when you slouch and slump and sit, or if you kind of are always off to one side, eventually your position becomes your posture, and your posture becomes how your muscles and your tissues are trained to what's normal. When this becomes how you hang out all the time on the couch, or maybe like this, then your body kind of sets this as this is your postural home. And the muscles that are pulled long become weak and unused. Over time, and I'm talking like years over time, those dysfunctional patterns set up a lot of pain and loss of mobility in the body through trigger points and through those fascia connective tissue lines getting jumbled up and stuck together. So let's talk about back pain for a moment and why this posture is so important. Because when you slouch, your back muscles are hanging long, and so those muscles get weak, their connective tissue bags that they live in get weak, and they can tear. Then you get inflammation, and that increases pain. The other thing with a slouched, kind of rounded posture and those back muscles getting really weak and thin, the fascia, the connective tissue layers dry out, and the space in between them disappears, and they adhere, they get stuck together. Now, recently, some fascia research has come out that back pain is directly related to that thickening of the fascia and the weakening of the back muscles. So if you experience back pain, or really any pain in your body, you want to sit well, and you want to walk and stand and carry yourself well so that you're keeping your muscles more in balance and not weakening your back muscles. So we put these two videos together, one for how to sit well. It's called active posture when you sit. You notice you never see me slouch unless I'm trying to prove a point, right? And this became easy. I was a sloucher, now I'm not. Now it's easy, right? It takes a little time to get there. You can do it. So sitting well, and then also carrying yourself well. How do you walk around? So once you get up from your chair, if you're kind of like this, kind of walking around, that's not going to work either. So you want active posture when you're sitting and active posture when you're standing. So send me a little comment below, put some information down. Let me know if this helped you. Did you learn anything interesting in this video, especially that part about the fascial layers getting stuck together? I want to know if that's new for you. And let's go to those videos on how to sit and how to stand well in active posture. So now we're going to go through active posture sitting. One of the reasons why people get stuck in low back pain, chronic low back pain, and chronic back issues over years is that they're not addressing their posture enough. And they're allowing themselves to slouch and slump when they're walking and when they're sitting, especially when they're sitting. And you want to make sure that you're not allowing yourself to sit in your couch, and that you're not allowing yourself to sit at the back of a chair, because the back of a chair tends to kind of get us into slouching and slumping or leaning off to one side. Maybe you're always like crossing one leg underneath you, and this is setting the pelvis all off. So you want to notice what your habitual patterns are for when you're sitting. And then when you are sitting, you want to sit well and actually let your posture be healing to your body instead of harming to your body. So you're going to have a sturdy chair, and you're going to sit, and you're going to scoot yourself more toward the front of that chair. Now you can see already that I'm already in a good position. It's hard for me, it's hard for me in general because I've worked on my posture for so long. Like I pretty much always have good posture. I'm not hanging out in a tuck, I'm not slouching, I don't ever sit on a couch, right? And now I never have low back pain or my sciatica that's been gone for years and years, right? So you want to sit up well. And you want to bring the same principles into active posture sitting as we do with standing. So those principles are maintain the curve, the normal natural curve of your lumbar spine. Maintain the normal natural curve of your lumbar spine, which is a little bit of a lordosis. It means lengthening the spine up toward the sky and balancing that tilt of the pelvis with a gentle drawing in of the front ribs and opening and widening the back ribs just a little bit, just enough to counter so that you're not over exaggerating, right, that whole lumbar curve. You don't want to sit like this, right? And it's interesting, I see folks who are trying to correct their posture, they tend to do this, right? Well, not so much. A little bit, that's a little bit overdone. Okay, so here's what you want to do. You want to place your feet on the floor, hip distance apart-ish. You want to feel both sitting bones on the chair. You want to tilt that pelvis a little bit. Those inner groins move back. Get a lumbar curve first thing. Balance it. And remember, it's going to feel overdone in the beginning until your body's used to it. Draw the lower ribs in just a little bit so that your back ribs can kind of open and rise up to the crown of the head. And then the crown of the head is rising up toward the sky. And then soften everything a little bit. Can you then, once you get into it, can you then relax a little bit there? Now I sit for hours like this without a problem. And I can sit for meditation for long periods of time without a problem, without pain in my back, without pain in my neck, without my shoulders, without like, feeling like I need to get out of it because I've been working on it for a while. So in the beginning, it's going to feel tiring, but I promise you that over time, this posture is going to be healing for your body. And you'll never, ever want to sit in bad posture again. I never want to sit in bad posture. I try sometimes to sit on a couch. It doesn't work. After just a couple minutes, I'm like, it feels terrible. It just feels terrible in my whole body, right? So, sitting bones grounded toward the front of the chair. Rolling toward the front of the sitting bones to establish that lumbar curve. Low ribs draw in just a little bit, just to make sure that you're not kind of thrusting too far forward, right? You want to still stay anchored on your sitting bones. Lower ribs draw in, back ribs rise up, crown of the head rises up to the sky. And then relax everything just a little bit so that it feels a little slightly less effortful. And this is active posture in a chair. And this is the posture that you want to be sitting in most of the time, pretty much any time that you're sitting. Notice I did not say cross one leg over the other. Notice I said feet about hip distance apart, and I didn't say put your knees together, right? Notice this is the position toward the front of the chair and sitting up well and tall and using the strength of your body to lengthen your spine and lift yourself up, healing your back, keeping yourself from damaging your back and your spine any further, pulling some of that dysfunction out of your body with your posture so that you can feel good. It is so important how you hold and carry your body, because you can do all the PT, all the exercises, all the foam rolling, all the breath work, all the targeted stretching and strengthening and all the things. But then if you just get on your couch and slouch, or if you walk around all slumped over, not carrying your body well, you're not going to heal. It's going to be very hard to get yourself out of pain if you have bad posture, because your posture is the position that your body is in most of the time. You know, how you stand, if you stand to one side all the time, or if you have a tendency to kind of stand with your weight forward. A lot of folks think, oh, I'm opening up my chest, but then what are they doing? They're actually thrusting the pelvis forward, or they're walking around with the pelvis tucked under like this. And walking around with that pelvis tucked under or hanging in a slouch is not going to serve healing your back. You won't get better if you can't get out of those bad habits. So we are going to break it down. What is active posture? What does that mean? How can I get into active posture? And then how can I practice it walking around? Okay, so number one rule of active posture, burn your couch. Don't sit in a couch. Don't allow yourself, especially during this guided healing journey, low back relief, don't keep setting yourself back. Don't allow yourself to sit on a couch and slouch. Allow yourself only to sit on firm chairs where you're able to sit up and practice and strengthen in good posture. And then become aware of how you stand. So I'm going to walk you through standing in active posture, and then walking in active posture, and then sitting in active posture. So first part, standing in active posture. The first thing we want to keep in mind is that our backs are designed to have a lumbar curve. And so if you are tucking your pelvis under, right? If you're spending too much time in that tuck, you're going to be removing that lumbar curve. And as we know, that's not helpful. So if you're a tucker, or if you're a leaning forward person thrusting your pelvis out, you want to especially be mindful to bring your attention into the inner groins right here. The inner groins on either side of kind of the pubic bone, right at the intersection, at the top of the inseam of your pants. You want to take those inner groins back. What you'll feel is your weight moves back toward your heels a little bit. So that weight moves back a little bit, helps you get more grounded in your heels, and it establishes that lumbar curve. We want to not be stuck in a tuck. We want to bring those groins, soften the groins back. Now it's going to feel like you're sticking your chest out, and your chest may actually be protruding at this point. Bring your attention into your lower ribs. Tuck those lower ribs in, draw them back. Okay, so that balances the tilting of the pelvis by reaching those inner thighs back, inner groins back, and then tuck the lower ribs in the front in. That kind of balances that. And you have to find that sweet spot in your body. In the beginning, if you're a tucker, which most of you are, or if you're stand on weight on one leg more than the other, you're going to find this feels like you're really just sticking your butt out. And your body has to get used to this new position because your body is attuned to the tuck. So we're resetting your whole nervous system to be willing to accept this new posture, right? So it's going to feel weird. It's okay for it to feel weird and different. Inner groins back, lower ribs draw in, back ribs now rise up to the sky. This is the traction part. And then the crown of the head even rises up to the sky. You're literally tractioning your spine between heaven and earth. You're reaching the crown of your head up. Still those groins stay back. And then can you move in that position? So can you keep, the most important thing in movement is to keep thinking about reaching the crown of the head up. Like it's almost gonna lift you up on your tiptoes. Now my mom, when I was a teenager, had me walk around sometimes with a book on my head to train me in good posture. At the time, I was, of course, horrifically irritated by this. Now I'm like, hey, good job, Mom. That actually works. So you want to have a small box, or you can use your yoga block, which is a little bit bigger, so it might be a little bit harder to balance. Or I have this block. You can practice with a soft cover book. but this will curve around your body, around your head a little bit more. It sometimes is easier to cheat a little bit with the soft book. However, what it will do is give you something to push your head into, right? So I'm going to use this little box, and I'm going to place it on the top of my head. Now I'm going to show you, it's very hard to like stand with your weight on one side. It's very hard to slouch. Well, it's very hard to tuck the pelvis forward and keep that box on top of the head. You have to have good posture. Have you ever watched a little kid learn how to walk, a toddler learn how to walk? At that age, their head is the biggest, heaviest part of their bodies. So they're kind of like this, right? And they have their butt sticking out a little bit. Look at little babies and toddlers as they're learning. Their butt is sticking out a little bit. Get those glutes working for you instead of tucking them under and shutting them all down. That is not helping you at all, right? So allow your butt to come back a little bit. Put that little box on your head. Push the crown of your head up into the box and walk around. Can you walk around in good posture, pressing the crown of the head up into the box like you're trying to push the box up to the ceiling? Give it a try. Give it a try. This has actually liberated many of my clients and students from their bad posture habits, because the box doesn't lie, the book doesn't lie. It's gonna let you know if you're hanging out more on one side than the other. It's gonna let you know if you're tucked and slouched. It's gonna let you know if you're overarching in the back, because your head will not be level. So give that a try. There's our active posture in standing, how to get that set up, and then how to practice it tractioning your spine so that you are actually lengthening the spine and taking some compression out of those discs and maybe alleviating some of your back pain with your posture and how you walk around.